And my dad would hang out with Liza and subsequently fell in love with her. And then actually had to leave California because my grandfather was posted back to New York, and he left L.A. and he wrote Liza his first ever love letter, which started, "Dear Liza, what do you think of this guy Elvis?"
Smooth.
Anyways, he never returned. She never returned to his letter, replied to his letter, and he was devastated. It was the first time his heart was ever broken, and he wrote a song about it. All this stuff happened. So when I first met her, I said, "Hi, I'm Lottie's son," and she was like, "Hi, great, really," and at one point when I first met her, I said, "I just want you to know, Liza, that I just got sober and I have 90 days clean." And she grabbed my hand and she said, "We're in this disease together." And then she ran across the room away from me, and I didn't talk to her ever again. But so I think she felt like I may have come on a little too strong, a little too fast, and then and I'm doing your mom's show, So I think I kind of scared her a little.
Well, I read that she thought it was disturbing.
She thought it was disturbing. She thought it was a disgrace, to her mother's memory and stuff. But then of course Lorna.
But at the same time, a whole new generation of people are exposed to this album that they weren't really.
She'll come around. Maybe she'll do the Hollywood Bowl with me.
Well, Neil Tennant now. You've got the Pet Shop Boys connection. No. So we've danced around a couple of times, but when you talk about coming clean and getting clean and getting sober, do you want to walk us through what happened?
Well, my sober thing is that up until I went to rehab in 2002 or something, up until then, I very much I'm open about open to talking about what happened and what I went through. After that, after I stepped through the pearly gates of Hazelden, it's really sort of my own affair. So my present condition is, I'm just one amongst you all, and I'm a human being. But before then, I had a real kind of dramatic, in my mind, battle with
well, it doesn't get any more dramatic than going blind from it. Was it true you were blind from doing too much?
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty bad. Last night I was watching a documentary on Edie Sedgwick.
You tell Manhattan one? Or?
Yeah, it's called Girl on Fire. I don't even know if it's out yet, but it was pretty. I mean, whatever. It was pretty outrageous what certain people.
What were you up to though? What were you doing? I mean, I remember seeing you at a bar.
I was having a great time. I was happy and had friends and was liked to dance and liked to do all this great stuff. And then really just near the end, for about a year, it just didn't work anymore. It wasn't that kind of cocktail. Both physically and metaphorically, wasn't doing the job anymore. And it kind of it had the adverse effect.
But it wasn't stopping you from working, was it?
No, it wasn't stopping me from working. But that was starting to cross. Those lines were starting to cross. I mean, one thing that I think that I like to say about me getting sober is that I didn't become homeless. It didn't affect my work. I wasn't arrested. I didn't, I still have my health and everything. And I think that's the great side of this story, is that I did it at a time when, I had a lot to gain, and I didn't lose everything. And I think that's often kind of, some people will say to me, "Oh, you looked fine," or "You were great," or "I didn't know there was a problem." But it was, I think that's sort of the puncher, is that I did it before it got.
So when did you know there was a problem?
I knew that there was a problem when I couldn't really. I wasn't really happy until I had a drink at around 11 in the morning. So, and then I'd feel better. So, and I'd kind of polish off 2 gin and tonics without even thinking about it. So I was like, it's a little weird. So
Is that why it was difficult, though? Because you were still very productive? Because I remember in the All I Want documentary, you talk about, well, the benefits of addiction are that you get a lot of work done sometimes, and you go into a studio and
no, I mean, I think it's definitely, I mean, I think Nick Cave, for me, really, Nick Cave explained it very well, which was that, you know, as a songwriter...
You're getting drug counseling from Nick Cave? Stick to Liza.
Drug canceling. But he said, you know, as a songwriter, you know, you really have to sort of mine the depths of your soul and go to the dark side. You know, as an artist, you kind of have to go there, and then, you know, you got to make it back. So.
And is the process by which you go through somewhere like Hazelden,
right,
where it involves a lot of therapy and family counseling?
Honey, right through the pearly gates.
Was that...
Try it. I don't know.
Is that beneficial in any way, like to iron out some of the delightful dysfunctions in your family?
Anything is beneficial, which you decide to, when you decide to seek professional help. There's, in terms of drugs and alcohol and stuff and mental health, there's so much available out there right now, and there's a real kind of, it's a very, you know, it's a very viable solution, you know. So anybody who needs help should go out and get it.
So you came out of rehab and finished Want 2.
I finished Want 1.
Want 1,
Want 1 and Want 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I did those. Some of those songs were written before, but I actually recorded them after all that. So.
And now, back to what you're doing now, though, in addition to these 2 CDs and touring with Judy, I think you're going to London and Paris.
Yeah, London and Paris.
You're also doing it at the Hollywood Bowl, which hasn't been announced, I think, so there you go. And tell me about the opera that you're writing.
Yes, and I'm writing. See, this is the plan.
Okay.
I'm doing the Release the Stars is coming out. Then the Garland album. Then I'd love to do a French record. I'd also love to do
Bubbleheads.
A song. I'd like to do Bubbleheads, sure, and some stuff like that. But then, really, I'm just trying to sort of put everything aside so that I can write this opera.
So the opera, is this a result of your meeting with Peter Gelb and his wanting to bring some young blood to the opera?
I guess so.
Okay.
You know.
So tell us about what's it about.
It's called it's called Prima Donna, the opera, and and there's a big crucifixion scene in which someone actually dies and stays dead. No. No. It's a day in the life of an opera singer. And it's just there's 4 characters, and it's just, you know, the morning to the night, and sort of all these little sort of things happen during the day, and it's a bit like it's based vaguely on some interviews I saw with Maria Callas, and also on this soprano Régine Crespin, who's a really great French soprano. It's about the whole idea of a diva and just and her kind of coming to terms with what that means when she kind of loses her voice and has to be a woman.
And you've written this in French, no?
I'm writing it in French at the moment.
Okay.
I'm starting it in French just so that I don't have to think too much
How's your
about
French?
the whole English opera conundrum.
How's your French?
My French is fluent. Yes.
Oh, because you're Québécois?
Yes, je suis Québécois.
You're Québécois. Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, I thought it was a little bit like Sunset Boulevard, in that the aging diva falls for like a young writer.
Well, there's an interviewer in it who comes to interview her, and I mean, some of this is based on my life, and she's just, what happens is that she's going to do this comeback, and there's this and she's basically, she hasn't sung for many years, and there's this young interviewer who comes and really, you know, pours it on in terms of getting the story that he needs, uses all of his powers to reel her in and get her to talk, and part of that is seduction, and I very much, you know, I know with the press, especially when you're tired and when you're vulnerable and, you know, on the road or just, you know, depressed or just working too hard, there are moments with interviewers where you can really, I don't know, you can get pretty trapped sometimes.
I guess it doesn't help when you start off an interview by saying, sorry, I just took a Valium. I've read a few of your novels. Seduction might be a little easier than Rufus.
I guess so. But did I do that once with you? Or?
No.
Okay. I can't.
Twice.
So that's one of the aspects of the opera.
That's all you're telling us about the opera?
Well, you know, I'm still writing it, so I don't know. I'm writing it in sort of a melodic style. I don't know if I don't want it to sound like a parody of opera, but I'm definitely I'm a big grand opera fanatic. But if anything, it's starting to, because it's in French, it's starting to sound a lot like Ravel, and I am also a big fan of Janacek, so I'm trying to get sort of that, you know, just, I don't know how to compose, but it sounds great anyway, sound.
Just kill the baby.
Yeah. So that's.
When do you think it's going to be shown?
We don't know. I mean,